In this modern world, we have been taught to become afraid when we hear certain words. One of those words is hijack. When an aircraft, ship, or automobile is hijacked, it is illegally seized in transit and forced to go to a different destination, or it is used for the purpose of the hijacker. What if you discovered that your mind is being hijacked every single day? The bad news is that it really is being hijacked. The really bad news is that most of us aren't even aware of this constant hijacking of our minds. Don't worry, though. There is a way to recognize when your mind is being hijacked and to take action to keep hijackers out. It is believed that your brain is divided into two halves, the left brain and the right brain. Scientists like to use big words, so they refer to these as the left and right brain hemispheres. The left brain hemisphere is thought to be the half where linear thinking occurs. Non-linear thinking happens in the right brain. Linear thinking includes logic, analysis, sequencing, mathematics, language, facts, and thinking in words. All these topics pertain to the material world, and we have been taught to believe that they are objective in nature. The right, non-linear half of the brain is where things like creativity, imagination, holistic thinking, arts, music, nonverbal communication, feelings and emotions, daydreaming, visualization, things that cannot be objectively measured, are thought to happen. The Silva UltraMind System reacquaints you with these so-called right brain faculties and show you how to use them with the same ease and proficiency as you use your logical left brain intellect. Imagine for a moment what would happen if we were all taught to believe that all that stuff that happens in the right half of our brains was not important. Even worse, that all that stuff was laughable, that people who valued that were weird and should be laughed at. How tragic would it be if we were convinced that things like intuition, daydreaming, and visualization were a waste of time? Well, you don't have to imagine very hard, because that is what happens to all of us from the very moment we're born. If you're wondering how this could happen, the answer might shock you. Our language has been hijacked. I know that sounds extreme, but bear with me here. Here is where the hijacking comes in. The meaning of words like logic, analysis, facts, etc. is hijacked by creating the false belief that logic, analysis, facts, and so on are objective and that they are the only real way to discover what is true and valuable in life and what is false and worthless. So we learn to trust the pronouncements of physicists, doctors, and engineers as though they came down from on high. The hijacking doesn't stop there, though. We are also taught to believe that creativity, imagination, and visualization are only for people like artists, musicians, and poets. And, you might ask, how are those beliefs instilled into our minds? Our parents, through our education system, through the messages, both explicit and implied, that come from our government leaders, and from the media. Western education focuses on the 3 R's of readin', writin', and arithmetic, often to the exclusion of the human right brain faculties. To focus on the 3 R's to the exclusion of imagination and intuition is, quite literally, to develop only half of our brains. In the words of former U.S. Secretary of Education Richard W. Riley, I believe arts, education in music, theater, dance, and the visual arts is one of the most creative ways we have to find the gold that is buried just beneath the surface. They, children, have an enthusiasm for life, a spark of creativity and vivid imaginations that need training that prepares them to become confident young men and women. So why is so much effort spent in hijacking particular words from our language? Because if the meaning of the words we use every day can be hijacked, then so can the way that we think. There's a word for that phenomenon, and that word is brainwashing. Most of us have been brainwashed to believe that if you can't see, touch, smell, taste, or measure something, it simply does not exist. Yet the parts of our mind that stir us the most deeply are the things that transcend the 5 physical senses. Those things can't be touched, smelled, tasted, or measured. For example, have you ever fallen in love? If you have, how much did that feeling of love weigh? Have you ever been deeply moved by a piece of music or a painting? How many inches long was that emotion that moved in you? When a parent has a premonition about something about to happen to their child and that premonition later comes true, how can they justify that using conventional logic and analysis? You simply can't. But the fact that you can't measure and quantify something does not make it any less real, does it? No, of course it doesn't. Long before air travel ever became commonplace, it was nothing more than an idea in the imagination of Orville and Wilbur Wright. And were it not for the image of a towering structure that haunted the imagination of Gustave Eiffel, the Eiffel Tower would never have become the symbol of Paris, France, that it has been for over 100 years. And yet the fact remains that the brainwashing we are subjected to every day has imprisoned the very same parts of our minds that we could use to create marvels even more magnificent than the Eiffel Tower and manned flight. But there is a way to free yourself from the effects of our collective brainwashing. The Silva UltraMind System is your escape route. The skills taught in the Silva UltraMind live training reacquaint you with your own intuitive genius. Not only that, but you learn how to use those powerful parts of your brain that society has taught you to mistrust. The reason that so many people feel unfulfilled in their lives is that they have allowed the systemic brainwashing of our culture to influence important decisions about their lives. As Tony Robbins put it, it's not what we do once in a while that counts, but our consistent actions. What ultimately determines who we become and where we go in life? The answer is our decisions. It's in these moments that our destiny is shaped. More than anything else, our decisions, not the conditions of our lives, determine our destiny. Learning to tap into the wisdom of your own intuition and to recognize and act on the promptings of that intuition can lead you to create a life that is compatible with your true purpose in life. How many people do you know who have pursued a career that they thought they were destined for, only to have all of their efforts end in failure? Had doors of opportunity fly open when they pursued a career that interested them but didn't seem practical? Had a relationship fall apart despite their best efforts to make it work, only to discover their true love a short time later? These are all examples of how our own higher intelligence is trying to steer us in the direction of our true life's purpose. Sadly, most of us are so conditioned to ignore the voice of our inner wisdom that we aren't able to enjoy the benefits of living our life's purpose. The same cannot be said for the Silva UltraMind graduates. During the live training, each student learns how to interact with their own higher intelligence, recognize when it is speaking to them, and follow its guidance. No wonder we're such a happy group of people. Opportunities seem to fall out of the sky to support your success in your career choices, your relationships, and your health, when you are aligned with your life's purpose. The Silva UltraMind mental programming techniques give you the skills to recognize the opportunities that support your life's purpose and to use those opportunities to your greatest benefit. The Silva centering exercise is the foundation of the Silva UltraMind System. If you have been listening to it every day, then you might already be noticing certain things happening in your life that seem new to you. Why stop there? Fill out the information below to learn how you can attend a live Silva UltraMind training. Do it now while it's still fresh in your mind.